Generation to Generation Cowboys and Sports Talk. My dad, my partner, my co-host, CowboyJoe 64.
I am your father.
Just to get the Cowboys 2 good games to hopefully understand that they need to go receiver and go high with this next pick.
Yeah, yeah, that's really what this is gonna be about. All right, you looking live at Father and Son Cowboys and Sports Talk. Our Sunday segment from now on is going to be called the Clarkson's Cowboy Collective. So you looking live at the Clarkson's Cowboys Collective show, Father and Son Cowboys and Sports Talk, and uh, yeah, we live today, and we're going to talk about training camp. I'm with Cowboy Joe, my dad, and my aunt, Uncle Squeak, Uncle Keith, Lookout KC, and yeah, we just gonna do a little update and talk about training camp, and a lot of news broke today. So y'all want to say what's up to the people and kind of dive right into today's show?
What's up to the people?
Appreciate you guys joining the show. Let's talk about this Cowboy scrimmage. So, what did you guys notice? So, who had a good scrimmage and who did not?
Uh, from what I seen, from what I seen, I don't really see. I'm what I'm noticing. I'm noticing a lot of I'm noticing a lot of people that I didn't that I'm not familiar with that are making a move and being seen, like a couple cornerbacks. Well, of course, we are all familiar with what's the guy from Denton? They went to Denton. What was his name? Remember last year?
Keemon Hall.
Yeah, Keemon Hall. He's making a scene, and then also it was an undrafted free agent that came from I have to look it up, but some cornerbacks making some noise. Kyer Elam is making some noise. Kyer Elam looked like he's really trying to revive his career. Um, I seen that. The running backs look good. Um, but that's only time will tell with the running backs. But from what I've seen, everything looks pretty even. A lot of times when I'm looking at training camp, it's always a dominant team. Like, it's either like the defense is dominant or the offense is dominant. But from what I've been watching, they both been like, it's play to play. Like it's not just as easy for Dak and CD as it normally is to get passes completed. And like Tyler Guyton, to me, Tyler Guyton is jumping off the screen. Every time I see Tyler Guyton, he jumping off the screen to me. It's just like his splits, the way he's blocking, and we got some pretty good pass rushers. But the way he holding the fort down, that's jumping off the screen to me. Um, so I'm really impressed with so far from what I've seen from Tyler Guyton. And another thing that I was going to say, I think that the competition is going to be between Reverend Span Ford and Schoon, but I think that Reverend Span Ford is going to be fighting to get on the field, and I think that Schoon is going to is going to be the starter. Going to be the second tight end. Just from what I'm seeing, because I haven't seen Schoon making no mistakes. Like, when they throw into Schoon, he catching it like, he not necessarily fighting the ball. He looked more relaxed. So I just don't think that he's gonna mess up enough for Brevis Spanford to take that jump on him. If anything, it'll be 50-50. But that's what I've seen. What have y'all seen?
Well, I was pretty much like you say. I was looking at Guyton, seeing how he's practicing, and I also had my eyes on Mozzie, the
Mm-hmm.
one technique, the defensive tackle, and from what I saw from him, he seems like he's getting pushed around a lot. They just moving him to the side,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was looking at the running backs too. They look pretty good, look pretty fast. Coming out the backfield. So those were my three major concerns when I was looking at the blue and white scrimmage today. Was looking at Guyton and Mozzie, checking them out, see how much they improved, and the running backs. But all the running backs from looking at today's scrimmage, everybody seems to be, hitting the holes quick, hitting them fast. So that's that's a
Mm-hmm.
that's some a good thing to see. So that was pretty
So,
much what I was looking for today. On the defensive side, like again, I was looking at Mozzie. I was looking at the corners because we got a lot of corners that's out right now. Diggs is out. they say he may be out for a period of time. The rookie that we got out of I think it's South Carolina. Well, he
It's
forget what
just
school he come from. Uh,
Ravel.
South. Yeah. So he's injured, but they say he's probably on his way back. So that's what I was looking at too. The corners. Booth looked pretty good from what I saw.
mm-hmm.
So that was pretty much what I was looking at today.
One Ye look good.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
just kind of my observation. I had just a real quick update. So I know Brevin Spanford was injured to start the scrimmage. Did we get an update on him? Because I don't even think he did. He competed today. He went out like the first part of the scrimmage.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah, they carried him
so
to the
no
locker
update on
room,
that.
and he didn't. No update yet. He never
Let
did
me
come
check
back
him.
out.
But just kind of what I was watching, really, it just seems like it was a lot of just training camp. That's kind of what we've seen over the years with the blue and white scrimmage. You're just kind of looking at drills. But yeah, so the guys that you guys mentioned, I thought they did well. I didn't get to when I was watching it. I wasn't able to actually zero in on Mozzie. I did see the corners and the safeties, really active. Uh, but
Mm.
I thought Elam stood out. I think Wanye, based on what we're seeing, has Wanye already taken over that safety position as a starter?
It looked like it's gonna be that way. Well, it's a certain position that they're calling it for him. So I guess it's kind of be like a package type of deal.
Yeah.
But they're calling it. I think they call it the lean safety or something like that. And that's just like where he lining up on the strong side, I think. And so
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's on
So
the
he gonna
strong.
be he gonna. I think he gonna take that spot because of his versatility, because he can come down and cover, and he can play in the box, and he can, and he's fast enough to get over the top. So, Wanye is one of those guys that, oh yeah, 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 no, Jonathan Mingo too. So I had a couple of surprises.
He showed up today.
And he been showing up all camp. But this is kind of the thing that happens when you get someone like Pickett's in, like kind of like what we need to happen with Mozzie. You know what I'm saying? Mingo is not good enough to be a second or a first, but when you put him in a third role, he gonna shine because he is a first round pick, right? Or a second round pick. So, you know,
Mingo.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Is he a
He
second
went
round
in.
pick?
I think he went in a second. You have to look it up. You like Mingo when he was coming out.
I did, and what I'm starting to see from him is kind of what I liked about him in college. So, him and Jalen Tolbert, they're going to be good. Our third and fourth receivers are going to be pretty good because like Jalen Tolbert led our team in touchdowns last year. So that right there is going to be our third and fourth receiver. So Jonathan Mingo looked like he was showing up. They are auditioning for other teams. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to probably expect for them to have good years. What I want.
Yeah, that receiver room is pretty thick right now, and they
Yeah.
all look good.
So the
Every
Tolbert
one of
show.
them was catching balls. Tobit, he was probably out the ones I saw. He dropped a couple of balls, but overall they look. Mingo look good, and of course, uh, CD and Pickens, they all
Now
look
I was
good
gonna
today.
ask y'all. Now I got a couple things I wanted to do. Like yesterday, I know y'all familiar with AI, right? You just ask Google something and it just give you an answer. AI is really. So
Yeah,
I asked Google yesterday, or I asked it two things. I said, "Are the Cowboys?" I said, "Can the Cowboys win the Super Bowl this year?" And it gave me an answer. Then I put, "If the Cowboys don't win the Super Bowl or something like that, or what's the Cowboys' weaknesses?" And what AI does is basically just surveys the entire web, the entire world, and it comes up with an answer. And the answer, I want to get y'all opinions on the answer, and I want to get y'all opinion on what we need to do to fix this because this is what AI is saying, and to me, I think it's 1,000% accurate. So, but we're gonna get into that. But I wanted to ask y'all again, also too. I seen that so Shoddy, he has set Tyler Booker with the twos. They said that the guy that was behind him was playing better than him for these last few practices or whatever. So he kind of like not demoted him, but he basically just said like, when someone's getting the better of you in the competition, they deserve to be rewarded for that. So whoever they got playing guard behind Tyler Booker, they were taking reps with the ones toward the end of this week. So I don't know if the guard. I know it's not Asim Richards, and they say Asim Richards too. They say Asim Richards is playing good enough in the Underwear Olympics to be the swing tackle. And so I don't know who they got behind Tyler Booker. The name escapes me right now, but
It's Brock Hoffman.
Brock Hoffman. I don't think it was Brock Hoffman, but it might have been. But they were saying that They were saying that whoever was behind him was running with the ones.
I think what they're going to do with Booker, they just trying to make him earn it. But I don't have any question in my mind that Booker's going to be the starter.
Yeah, he gonna
But
be the
yeah,
starter, but I was just pointing out that Shotty, you know what I'm saying? We looking for examples of this from Shotty.
yeah.
We want to see this. We want to see Nate Thomas is his name. So
Hmm.
we want to see this, you know what I'm saying? We want to see Shotty,
Yeah.
coaching up and
I like Nate Thomas. I like Nate Thomas and Awesome Richards. So I think our offensive line, as far as depth and quality,
yeah.
is probably the best it's ever been. So yeah, but yeah. So
I thought he was a tackle though.
Awesome Richards.
Thomas. I guess he played tackle
Yeah,
and
I think
guard, I
they are
guess.
tackles. So uh, who's starting for Steele at right tackle is what we need to just kind of define. But
Yeah,
yeah,
he was
but
out.
and I heard Brian Broaddus, shout out to him, still mentioned yesterday on one of his shows that he's also still hearing that Awesome Richard doesn't want to play tackle. And shout out to Vach, and Vach pointed out that, like, fam, at this point, why are you still having this thought that you're gonna just play where you want to play? This is the NFL, which is really bizarre. But I like both players. I just think our offensive line, it's just going to be a better line from front to back. I don't think Matt Walesko is going to make the team this year because the guys that are around him are just better as far as like the backup. So, but yeah, Guyton, what I saw, he's you can tell he's improving. He looks better,
He
but
does.
but we want to see him. Just,
Getting that
yeah,
confidence. I think he's getting that
And that's
confidence
kind
that
of
he
like why
needs.
Scoon is doing good too, because he got his confidence is not it's kind of better than it used to be. But Guyton, I mean, like I said, I'm king realistic. I like to say that. It's just like, what are the odds? I mean, it's just like Tyler Guyton, first year in the NFL last year was his first year playing left tackle, 100%, and he played right tackle in college only for a few games his senior year or his last year or whatever. And then he was a first round draft pick for the left tackle for the Dallas Cowboys, and he started. And it looked like that. So I expect for him to get better, and I expect for him to be average or above average. And if you're average and the kind of guy that Guyton is, the kind of parents that he have, his dad, being involved how he is, and the camaraderie in the lineman room, Tyler Guyton is gonna be better. He gonna play with confidence, and that's really all he need. He got put in a box. He got put his back was up against the wall. I fully expect for him to make that commitment and make that jump. Now, Mozzie, I think it's just time up for Mozzie. I think I think Mozzie he was just a victim of circumstance when it comes to playing out of position. He came into the league. He really didn't have a defined position. He might have been a one tech at Michigan, but this is big boy ball right here, and you're not big enough to be a one tech, and you lost. Uh, you lost it. So I don't know what else to say about that.
Well, they need to be looking for some options because from the scrimmage I saw today, the running backs were like getting clean runs up the middle. It didn't look good for us them stopping the run. And people gonna be looking at that. That's the first thing they gonna do when they play us is run up the middle, seeing if we can stop the run. So it's a big concern to me right now, Mozzie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He gonna be a problem if the Cow if we go up in there with week one and our stopping the run depends on Mozzie, we got a problem.
So yeah, go ahead.
And another guy that was out today was the linebacker that they picked up.
Murray.
Um,
Yeah,
what's his name?
Kenny Murray.
That was
Mary.
kind of
Yeah,
odd that he
I
was
was looking.
out for the scrimmage. I know he had his he had a child that was born, but
Mm.
man, you would have thought that
Yeah,
for this scrimmage, he would have just made it back to but yeah, it with this team, you missing practices or scrimmages. Not really sure that that's good, but shout out to Iceberg Slim for joining the show. B Bird, appreciate you joining. Kevin Arthur. But yeah, I thought it was odd when I was watching the scrimmage that I didn't see Kenneth Murray. That was just really strange to me. But and it was someone else that they had a child that was delivered. Who was the other one? Oh, it was Bland. Bland wasn't there today either, right?
Yeah, it was bland.
So is that like I don't know, maybe that's like a new thing that the league is doing when they just making sure that you have time out, with your child when it's born, which is important.
Yeah,
But it
very
was
important.
the births were like on Thursday and Friday. But anyway,
You
but
know, like a lot of these companies these days, they don't even give the maternal like the fathers like I don't know, it's paternal. They only give us like a not a lot of time. They give us like 3 4 days, something like that, 4 5 days. When the
mm,
when mother gets like months. But
but when I looked at it, again, it's a scrimmage. To me, it just looked like a training camp practice. Just kind of, it's still a little bit of underwear Olympics.
mm-hmm,
So that first preseason game is going to be important. I did like the way the backs were hitting the holes.
mm-hmm.
Uh, but yeah, I thought I think Guyton showed up from what I could tell.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm gonna try to pull
yeah.
up this AI.
He looked pretty good.
Hmm.
I'm telling y'all, Guyton is gonna look good. And
I just feel like I'm used to left tackles being a little more bigger and a little more stronger than he's kind of weird built, to be playing that left
He's
tackle
really tall.
position.
He's 6'7", 6'8". He's got
Yeah.
long arms, and that can be a problem when you're facing someone that's 6'2", 6'3", like Izuriku, and just your shorter edges because they can get underneath him, and
mhm,
it's kind of hard for him
Hmm.
to be 6'7", 6'8". Now, strangely enough, well, not strange, but he matches up pretty good with somebody like Miles Garrett because he's a taller guy. When they played Cleveland, he did pretty good against Miles Garrett because he's a taller guy. But I just think he might have some issues with the 6'2", 6'3", even 6'4" edge rushers because they have that bend. They can just get underneath him because he's so tall.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, well, he is built like to me, I always say he built like a power forward, like a basketball player. But
He is.
I don't
Yeah.
know, and we here now. So he gonna have to figure out, that's his thing, that's their thing. So our offensive line coaches are gonna have to coach him up to go against guys like Izaraku and Micah, guys that have that good bend because you know that's a potential weakness, and we can't have that getting killed from that side, and then we can't have I seen Richards not wanting to play tackle, which I don't even understand why he has an option. But yeah.
Okay, I pulled it up, guys. Okay, so the backup right guard is Brock Hoffman. The backup left guard is Robert Jones. And I've been saying some things about Robert Jones. He's a veteran.
Hmm.
Okay, so that may be one of the guys that you saw today. I was gonna send you guys too. So I'm gonna send you guys this link. It has all of the players' numbers. It has their names, and what you can do, you can click on the player's name. You can click on the number column or the name column, so you can see who's who. Because when you're watching these scrimmages, it's like, okay, now who is this person?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I've
That's
been
what I
hearing a
was.
lot about Robert Jones,
Yeah, that's what I was looking
and
at today, trying to figure out who was what.
yeah, I'm
Some of
gonna
the
send
guys
that
I
to
knew,
you
some of the
guys.
guys I didn't.
Yeah. Now, what I'm looking at also, and I'm noticing this, I noticed this last year. these cornerbacks, they just be popping up out of nowhere. Like the cornerback that we're hearing about today, that I was hearing about today and yesterday, that was an undrafted free agent. It's just like these guys just be popping up out of nowhere and they be solid. Like what's his name from last year that I like? That he was, to me, he was great until he got hurt in the
Yeah,
Washington game.
you talking about Butler?
He was good. Like he was out there covering people. And we didn't even know who he was. He just popped up out of nowhere.
And the corner today, what was his number?
I need to go find it. I need to go find it. I hate that I even brought it up and couldn't find
I
it.
know Booth was 25, I think.
Yeah. Let me see.
So the corners on the depth chart,
Mhm.
you got Kyrie Eaglin, which was 20. He showed up. So Keemon Hall, they got him. Um, sh- Man, the corners that they have on the depth chart is Kalen Carson,
Is
Siobhan
Goodwin
Rivell.
is Goodwin still out there?
Goodwin is out there, but Goodwin is special teams. You know, Goodwin, he shows up every camp. They just never let him play corner because it's just a
Yeah.
kind of an understanding that he's really not a good corner. But I had been
Now,
hearing about Keemon Hall
Yeah.
on some other shows, and they were saying, kind of going into the scrimmage, that Keemon Hall, he's a nickel starting corner over Izzy, which is a little surprising. But again, we got 3 preseason games. You know, can Izzy still get that nickel slot? Sure, but Keemon Hall is showing up, and
Well, Keemon Hall, he was Mr. Pick last year and
Mhm.
in the training camp and in the preseason. He was snagging picks, and like, we was trying to figure out. We really was pulling for him. We really wanted him to make the team, but he
North
didn't. But
Texas, yeah.
what
yeah,
was his number?
So let me tell you what his number is. I just sent you guys that link. So on the
yeah.
link, you can click the number column or the name column, and it'll tell you who is who. Um, so Keemon Hall. Give me 1 second.
Oh yeah, and I got
Keemon Hall is number 43.
okay. And I do got something else I wanted to talk to y'all about. Sam Williams is gonna have to get a contract next year because I feel like the way that he involved, and the way that he's like the way that they keep spotlighting him and how everybody's talking about him every day. And we've been
Yeah,
kind of like we've been Sam Williams fans. We just feel like he just got too much of a motor. He don't know when to stop. He'll just like he'll jump off sides, and he'll just he'll get a 15-yard penalty. He'll block a punt, and then do everything right. He'll block the punt, do everything right, then just completely knock the punter
pistol.
over. Just completely. Like, you ain't gotta do that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, yeah, he's
Erratic.
erratic. But I'm gonna tell y'all right now, he gonna be making some noise this year, to the point to where they're gonna have to pay him.
Um, I don't know about that
Yeah,
part.
I saw him blowing by
Yeah,
people today
he
too.
he 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 on another level. Like, barking in the meeting rooms, and you know what I'm saying? They saying that, he got his pads on, and they like, yo, we probably gonna have to, like, Shotty was just like, we was having second thoughts about letting him put pads on anyway. We were just having second thoughts about it because he just he doing too much.
Well, you
You know?
remember last year, Zim was going to feature him until he got hurt.
Right, right. And I just think that that's what's finna happen this year. I think that he's gonna be featured, and I feel like, when he's a game wrecker for sure. When he come
Mm.
in, he make big plays. But like I said, he gonna get a 15-yarder every game. But he makes plays when he come in. So I think that he gonna be featured. And with them in this defensive tackle situation, I'm just very, very nervous about how he's going to deploy all of our defensive line strategy. What is the defensive line strategy? Because
Mm.
we steady hearing about them signing, edge rushers, and they got all these good edge rushers, and we just like, okay, but what about the DTs? What
I
about
can
the
I can tell you what it is. So I'm gonna let Keith. What do you think is happening at defensive tackle?
I don't know. I know it's a problem. They don't have a whole lot of depth,
Uh,
you
Well,
know, and they trying to push Mozzie, but after that, I mean,
yeah.
it's pretty
Well, the
no depth at all on the defensive line,
They have they
defensive
have depth,
tackle.
but they have it at the three tech spot. And what's happening is this scheme, the front office, the scouts, they have this thought in their mind that they can play this defense with hybrid one techs, and that's the problem. Good defenses in the NFL, you have to have at least one huge defensive tackle, which is the one tech. That's what every good defense has. This front office, they finna make the mistake again. They've done this before, where they think they can just have hybrid players at positions. A couple of years ago, a lot of Cowboy fans got caught up in all this hype with Bell playing linebacker. Boy, Bell is great. He's playing linebacker. He's playing great. Well, you know what? That looked good, but most teams, when they saw us in the playoff, they just saw him from
Yeah,
what he is, like a pork chop sandwich. They just waited. Then Green
yeah.
Bay and teams like that. So that's what's going to happen to this defensive unit, the front office. If you think you're going to play these teams with these hybrid one tech players like Solomon Thomas, Perion Renfrey, you're going to get smoked.
Well, Eberflus's thing is what I see him trying to do is just and be is be the leading blitzing team in the league. I feel like he just gonna be trying to blitz
He doesn't he
every
doesn't blitz a lot. That's one of his other problems. He
but
doesn't blitz.
they saying that he doesn't blitz, but they're saying that for in training camp and in the scrimmage, they've seen he was blitzing more than he's ever blitzed,
Well, he need to.
and the defense was blitzing more than they blitzed under any other defensive coordinator based off the percentages of the snaps and how they was blitzing, and
He's
he's
gonna have
using
to.
them. Yeah, so
But
you know that's what he's trying to do. It's just like he's trying to have nothing but rushers.
so one of the questions, KC, that we gotta ask again, is this something that the defensive coordinator is pushing, not having a true defensive tackle or one tech, or is it the front office? What do you think it is, KC?
I think it's the front office. Like you said, they not addressing the issue, and this was a big part of the off season where you knew you're gonna need some beef up front, some size up front to stop the run, and then you come back with Mozzie, and like you said, they're deep on the three, but your one technique is very weak. Very to me is that's your weakest spot on the defensive line. So I really think they need to try to go out and see if they can make a trade or pick somebody up because right now that's the weakest part. But I think it's Jerry and Steven. They just not addressing it because they don't think it's they need it. They
Yeah.
have improved the linebacker position, but still, you need the defensive line to have some size where you can keep these linebackers free.
Yep.
Yeah, you gotta have that. I mean, it would be like I say, it would be a shame for us to get to game 7 or game 8, and the reason why we's losing because we can't stop the run because we don't have a decent one tech.
And that's where it's headed. This front office, for whatever reason, every NFL team is an apple, they're an orange, and they do it year in and year out. They're gonna take a position, and they're gonna just say to everybody that we're not really that focused on, getting this position to where it needs to be. They've done it at receiver, they've done it at linebacker, they're doing it. They kind of doing it now with running back on a slide. And then there's one tech. They're just basically saying now we got 4 games, 4 or 5 weeks to go here. But man, if they think that they're gonna play NFL games with Perion Winfrey and Solomon Thomas at defensive tackle, they're gonna they're gonna get their rear end shot off, and their linebackers are gonna suffer the consequences.
Mhm. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
think it was Zion Childress that I was talking about, or Elijah Clark is the cornerback that I was talking about that they were saying. I think it was Childress. It was like Zion Childress. He's a cornerback that's an undrafted free agent. They say he's been making noise.
He's
Like,
making plays.
yeah, it says the Cowboys may have found a hidden gem.
So
You know,
let's see what's Clark's number, because I didn't notice Clark.
Elijah Clark.
I was looking for him. I think I
Uh,
got mine going the other way. So Clark, he's not on my roster.
Elijah Clark. And then let's just look at what this AI says real quick so we can get that out the way. And then we can talk about Jake Ferguson and why that was genius. I mean, and why it was we can see that the Cowboys, I mean, we can talk about it now. We can see that they know how to do things the right way. They just choose not to do things the right way. Because like with this Ferguson deal, this deal right here is how all deals should be done. They got the deal done. Didn't nobody even know about it. It's a team friendly deal, but it pays Ferguson the way he should be paid. I mean, I
Yeah, I
don't.
mean that's an easy contract right there.
It is.
It's
Clark
not.
is number 38. Iceberg.
Yeah,
So
Appreciate it, Iceberg. Man,
and but it's
it's a lot of content creators that's not happy with this signing. They just talking about Michael, which I kind of agree with that. It's like to me, what they do is the front office. They'll do things to try to poke the bear or send a message, and it's like they just do things so goofy. And shout out to Micah and his team. I saw some side uh some shots of Micah today. Did y'all see Micah?
yeah, with his shoes on.
Yeah, it's like I really was not confident that he was going to just go out there and just show up and just be on the sidelines and attend meetings, which he should be doing. Which is so shout out to him and his team, man. I would not be out there doing all that heavy stuff, and he's not. So shout out to him and his team.
Yeah, shout
especially
out.
with this new defense and a new coordinator. I think it's good that he's out there so he can
Yeah,
at least see what's going on and they
but
can
he's
be able to
outsmarting
communicate.
them. Yeah,
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he has been outsmarting them from the very beginning. And I want to just say
they look silly.
they look silly. They are silly. But I just want to
They've
say
been
this,
silly for a long time.
right? And that's the problem. But see, like I'm gonna keep saying this because I'm gonna make it a theme. I keep saying it's really us and the team versus the front office. That's the first battle. It's
Oh
them.
yeah.
It's us versus the front office. That's who it is. So everything that's done, I'm making a good or bad check. Like, is this a good thing or a bad thing? And then what we need to happen is way more good things than bad things. But that's what you got to deal with when you're dealing with a front office that does stupid things. It's just like they are literally against their players. That's how it seems. Like they're against their players. Like, cause you mean to tell me that Micah's gonna get signed and all of this was for nothing? This is just
That's
nothing.
what's going to happen.
Yes, all of this was for nothing. You're just doing this. You're just doing this to be doing it, and then you're gonna sign him in the end anyway. And so
Hmm.
that's it's just pointless.
That's just Jerry and Steven trying to be in the news. Y'all don't have to be in the news. You
Nah,
the Dallas
they don't have
Cowboys.
to.
You gon' you automatically supposed to be America's team. You don't need nothing
So
else. And but this is just Jerry putting the
man,
attention on him.
one of the things we're
That's
gonna
all
go
it
back
is.
and forth on our show, and I do this with people on Twitter with my following. We're gonna have to like it's the chicken and the egg theory. So the question is, are you trying to be in the media? Are you trying to get clicks? Or you're just goofy and you don't know what you're doing? I think it's the goofy part.
It's just both.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah, it's just both.
all of it.
Yeah, it's just
All
both.
the
You just
above.
want to be in the news, and that makes you look goofy.
And we talked a big time show when we did one of our first shows. You remember I said that in KC, you know this, when we was growing up, there were just certain words you didn't say around the house, and stupid was one of them. If you were a kid, if you said the word stupid in front of your aunts, your grandparents, or whatever the case may be, your mom and dad, they would stop you in the tracks and just say, "You don't call somebody stupid." You remember that, KC?
Hmm.
Well, Jules, you
Yeah,
familiar with it too.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's what we're dealing with this front office,
yeah,
and it's just you just gotta just be honest. That's
yeah.
just what we're dealing with.
They're just not smart when it comes to football.
No,
It's not, it doesn't, like Shotty was talking about how Jerry and Steven was in the meetings, was in the quarterback room meetings and in the offensive meetings. It's just like, what are y'all doing in there? Like y'all are
yeah.
just y'all drawing attention to places where y'all don't need to be. It's just like who wants to work? Imagine you being at work and then the CEO comes stand behind you. It's just
I
like
don't really. So here's my thing with them being in the meetings. here's the thing with that, and we talked about this before. They let the general manager. I mean, they let the coaches coach. They gonna let Shotty do his thing. They're not gonna. So I don't have a problem with them being in meetings. The issue that I have with them is that it's like they just don't learn anything. So you're in a meeting, um, and then sometimes they can be in a meeting and it really doesn't matter. They just let coaches like Rob Marinelli. They were in all of the meetings when they picked Taco, but it didn't make a difference.
Mm.
It's just unwanted attention. I just think it's just unnecessary, and they've been doing this for 30
Yeah.
years. However long
Now with
Jerry been the
Shotty,
owner.
Jules, they
You
might
know, it's just it's
being in some meetings with Shotty, that might be good for them. But you
Maybe.
know, they ain't, it's like what are they gonna do with the information that they get out of the meeting? And these guys, man, you know, I don't
I
know.
just like I said, I really feel bad for Micah that they're putting him through this and that he has to go through this and that they're against him when he's done nothing but made them relevant for the last 3 or 4 years. So it's really not fair to Micah. We knew this was gonna happen, just like we know he gonna get signed. And it might be the day before the season start. But it might be it might be next week. We don't know. But all I'm saying is it's gonna happen, and then what's gonna be talked about next? Because you
Yeah.
know Micah is out here. He keeps saying, but they keep saying that he's making that step. He's being a leader, and that's why he's out there because this is his team now. This is his defense. He's the leader of the team. He's the face of the franchise.
so what are they doing? So what for just speaking out like he does? I mean, it's just
Yeah,
I don't understand.
me neither.
Well, I'm gonna ask you guys this, and I said this all last off season, and I said it in training camp. So last year it was Dak. Every day was Dak contract. Dak contract. It was just nonstop. And so what I kept asking people is, what's gonna happen when Dak gets signed? Because he is like, what's next? And that's the most important part. We know Michael's gonna get signed, but
Hmm.
when Michael gets signed, you still dealing with the same issues with the front office, the way they build a team. So does that mean that when Michael gets signed, you're gonna sign a couple of one techs that you need? Does it mean that some of the things that you've been doing the last 30 years are not going to change? So Micah getting signed, what does that actually mean for this team?
I think it's a timing thing with the one text. I think that they're gonna have to get one text that get cut off other teams, and like don't make it out of training camp or that's go to the practice squad or something like that. I mean, like I forget how it works. Like so, if a team releases you or you don't make the 52-man roster, and then you get to go to the practice squad on that team. If you go to the practice squad on that team, can some other franchise?
Think it's a
Right,
time period.
it's a time
I
period.
think they
So
can, but I think it's a time period from when a person goes to a practice squad when you can go and get that person.
that's
That's
what they gonna.
assuming you go to the practice squad if the team wants to put you on their practice squad. So when you get cut, you're just free.
Yeah, you
So
just a free.
and
Yeah,
then when you go to the practice squad at any time, a team, if they want to sign you to a contract, they can. So, but yeah, it's when you get cut, it's not a practice squad thing. It's just you're just free.
Well,
right.
yeah, they don't that's what the D techs I mean the one tech is gonna have, and that's what I think is gonna happen because I feel like what I would like for them to do is trade for the guy from Detroit. I know Raekwon Davis is another name I think I've been
He's
hearing.
free. He's free now. Now
See,
there was a defensive tackle for the Titans, and I didn't bring the name with me to the call. He's somebody worth signing. So he's a guy that should have probably already been signed. Now, uh, the guy from the Raiders that just got cut, and his name escapes me at the moment. Y'all know the name.
mhm,
He has a serious foot injury, so I don't think anyone's gonna sign him.
Well,
Jonathan Sutherland. No,
that's why I say this general manager that
Christian
that's
Wilkins.
a very
Wilkins, yeah.
important uh position, but
Go ahead, Casey.
job that we need, and we don't have it because of Jerry and Steven. They're not
Mhm.
general managers. They're just owners.
Yeah,
And
and
when you got free agents out there and you got players out there that we need just for depth and on in the one technique position, they should be bringing these guys in.
yeah, it's like it's
Mhm.
not it's common sense. And then
Yeah.
if any other team, if we was if you had any other team, they would have been brought them in. And
Yeah.
not to mention, like I said, I'm gonna keep on bringing Will McClay up because this is supposed to be his job. He not a general manager neither. So because he not doing these things that he should be doing, and then they want to make it seem like they're smarter than everybody else. Or they always trying to do something outside the box. They always trying to do something that it just don't make no sense. We're not gonna get a one tech. We're just gonna go with a massive number of three techs and rush. It's just like that does not make sense. It's just like you know, we pulled up those stats a few weeks ago to where we was looking at the Super Bowl champions for the last 4 or 5 years. One thing they all had in common was they had dominant defensive tackles that could stop the run. They all have
Mhm.
them, and this team does not have that. And it's kind of, it's kind of, I mean, and we literally talking about Mozzie being in the news every day because eyes are on him because he's not doing a good job and he's a first round pick. That is so Cowboys that
And
it's
what are
just
they doing with this thing with his weight? That is just so bizarre.
you
Is
know,
that him? Is that the team?
whoever it is, you know what, we need to do without it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just time to move on,
They saying he's they saying he's smaller and he's
which
more
makes no
thinner.
sense if
Come on,
you're going to
man.
be a one tech. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess it would make sense if you're going to be a three tech, but it doesn't make sense. And then like, I'll just remember that when Mozzie was coming out, when Mozzie was being drafted, the story of Mozzie when he was being drafted was the fact that he had lost all that weight. You remember when he first started like playing in football, like that was like his thing. Like that was like the
Um,
story that they made
it was
that.
kind of like baby fat.
Well, it was just like he had a body transformation. That was the big deal. That was
Yeah,
what the theme of him being drafted was about. He had a body transformation. And
and he was strong, and he was just he was at that time 320, 330, whatever the case may
so
be.
I
But
think that's what they trying to do is get him back to that. But I
yeah,
mean, it don't make sense because they're saying that he's 300 now. And it's just like, too much drafted means that you're not good at one thing. Not being good at one thing in the NFL is not a good thing. Well, shout out to
yeah.
those Cowboy.
Shout out West Coast.
No, I
Well,
agree, and I always say
West. I don't know if you was listening to our show earlier, and I know you can relate to this. When we were growing up, one word you couldn't say in the house was stupid. You couldn't call your brother, your sister stupid, or your cousin stupid. That's kind of where we're getting with the front office. Are we
yeah.
just in the stage where we just call them stupid and be comfortable with it?
Hmm.
It's an uncomfortable word to say, but
Well, when people are saying that they're not football guys, that's essentially what we're saying. Okay, like this. Not being good at one thing. I've constantly said that every Super Bowl champion, they're all good at one thing, and you can't stop them. Uh, I don't love you too much versatility. You know what I'm saying? It's always you know, something with the front office. We don't never have one thing that we can do that we could do better than anybody else. But we had it a couple years ago. It was CD and Dak. Nobody could stop that. Nobody could stop CD and Dak. They would, when Dak was an All Pro, he should have got MVP, and CD was All Pro. Now we got George Pickens now, but
what? How did he look today?
I mean, they gonna, they gonna
He
be
had
all
a couple
good.
of plays. I didn't really see them throwing the ball to him that much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Or CD. You
and
know,
yeah.
I was glad
seemed
that
like they was going in motion a lot.
yeah, and now that's what they saying that that's what Shotty has brought to this team. It's like a lot. Everybody, all these coaches, they always say we gonna do more motion. Well, Shotty's actually doing it, and then also I like the fact that Shotty said, Clarence. Shout out to Clarence here. Shout out to Chill. He asked him, "What are you expecting from Ferguson going forward?" And Shotty, like being the type of person that the people person and a talkative person that he is, he answered the question perfectly. He said that we just want him to be the Ferguson that he was a couple years ago in 2024 or whatever year that was. And that's
Mm.
that's basically what what you should be saying when they ask anybody anything. What do you expect from Dak? We expect him to be what he was in 2024. I mean, he was great. We expect for CD to be that. We expect for Micah to be that. They really had a great year. But what got them was what gets us every time. It's just, you know what I'm saying? They get to a game and then from the top down, they collapse. Cause I call it from the top down. It's not the players to me. I mean, it is the players, but in the pecking order, they like third because I'm looking at Steven and Jerry. I'm looking at the front office. Like you see that in the Green Bay game that your team that your defensive coordinator is calling a stupid game, and he has them in zone, and this is crazy. The defense is so confused. They all over the place. People are just running wide open. The GM, the front office is supposed to get on the elevator and go up to the press box where Dan Quinn then was and be like, "Say guys,
Well, you want the head coach to do that during the
yeah,
game, which
okay, so
McCarthy apparently didn't do.
the
But
top
yeah,
down. So you want the head coach to go up to the front, to go up there and be like, "Say, guys, I don't know what's going on in here, but you need to fix
and
this."
see, and that's what I do like about Shotty. I think if that happened, when that happens during the game this year, that's what you're gonna see the head coach do. He's gonna
Yeah,
just say, just hold up, like what are we doing on
yeah.
defense, and let's make some adjustments here.
He gives
Yeah,
me
And
that personality. He gives that like
that
he.
gets
yeah,
and that's very important making adjustments. And then it's one thing I've noticed too. We've been more of a finesse team, if that's the right word. We got a lot of finesse, but no, we're not a physical team at all.
Mm-hmm.
mhm,
You
yeah.
know, we're not physical. You know, we can line up and be finesse. You know, but
Yeah,
when it comes to playing physical football, when you
and just
playing the Niners, the Packers, and teams like that, we don't match up physically. We
And
nah. You
just
know
not
what? Jason Garrett started that to me. I feel like we was
strong
physical.
enough. And then that was another thing I noticed.
Go ahead.
That was another thing I noticed today too about the line, the motions
Mm-hmm.
and how they were lining up, and then they would go in motion. They had the tackles, lining up at two tight end sets. So it's a lot of movement going on in the offense that I've never seen.
Mm-hmm.
so one thing I think that's hurt us the last 30 years, and it showed up in that Green Bay game, and it showed up at different times is so it's two things, and it goes back to the front office too. It is not being able to stop the run and being able to run the football. So shout out to HTM. He had a stat on one of his shows earlier in the week that I thought was just astonishing and not surprising. He said in the last 4 or 5 playoff games, we had like a total of 80 yards rushing. That is just astounding.
Really?
Just but and so if you can't run the football, if you can't stop the run, that's
You
a
have no
major
chance.
you have no chance. In this front office, what they do repeatedly is they just have a philosophy that basically says we're not really that high on stopping the run and running the football. So that's what we're seeing with this defense, the way it's shaping up with the one tech issue. They are
Mm-hmm.
saying once again, we're going to put ourselves in a situation where we might not be able to stop the run, and they doing the same thing with the running backs, with the running back by committee. They
Yeah.
just saying to me, running the football now. I will say this with our offensive line, with the coaches that we have on the offense side of the ball,
Uh huh.
I think the line is going to be much better.
Yeah.
But I'm still not 100% sure, guys, that we've got the runner. But this stopping the run thing, that should be something that is keeping everybody with this front office up every night.
Okay, so let
Well,
me get let me before we pick back, I gotta go to Kid Cowboy. So Kid Cowboy, so first, I always used to say this too. Why hasn't it taken him 25 years to get a job? Well, first of all, it's like this, kind of like this. When this is my response to that. Some of these head coaches, when they become head coaches, we don't know who they are until they're a head coach. A lot of people don't know who they are, like Sean McVay. People didn't know who Sean McVay was. We knew who Sean McVay was because he was on the Redskins staff, but so was Matt LaFleur, and so was the coordinator in Houston. So was a lot of these coaches. They was
but
all
they
on there. We
but
didn't
they
know
have
who they
brought
was. You know,
but they have brought new ideas to their teams. New schemes.
they
We've been
brought
running.
the Shanahan scheme. You know,
Yeah,
it,
we've
it
been
was a
running
new
these.
scheme.
Seem like we had this same offensive scheme, this Jason Garrett offense
Scott
for the
Linehan.
past, yeah, for the past 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
And people line up, they know what we gonna do every time. The offense just looks very predictable.
Well,
So
what I'm gonna say to that is that yeah, that's true. But
yeah,
for the
we've
last,
been we've been we've
yeah,
been having a top five offense, but it
correct.
just during the regular season. When we get in the
Mm.
playoffs, we get shut down. I mean,
Yeah.
we just completely get shut down when we get in the playoffs. So it's a good
Yeah.
offense in the regular season, but when we get in the playoffs,
Well, see, to me, that's coaching because you got to have. See, like
yeah,
I always say, you can play good in the regular season. That's fine, but what you're doing is you're just auditioning and you just sharpening up your skills to when you get to it to do or die in the playoffs. You have to be able to out scheme this team with something. See, when you during the season, you can just freestyle. Whatever works
Yeah.
works. Well, when you get to the playoffs,
yeah,
this is
yeah.
this offensive coordinator versus that offensive coordinator. This is this defensive coordinator versus that offensive coordinator. If that offensive coordinator is better than you, you're gonna lose. And that's what happens when they get to where the talent is tough. They can't do it because their coaches and their scheme is better than ours. It don't even have to be
Yeah.
the players. It don't
So
have to be the players.
so what I would say
Yeah.
to Kid Cowboy's question is two things. First, and you can
Hold on
you
before you say that.
yeah.
But let me say this too. And you said nobody was going after none of these coaches. That's just not true. They was going after Clayton Adams. They was going after the Kansas City offensive line coach. It was people that wanted them. But go ahead.
Well, that's definitely true for Clayton Adams and Connor Riley. But I would just
Mhm.
say, with Shotty, obviously you can go back and listen to our shows. When the job became available, he absolutely was not our one of our choices when we looked at who was available.
We did a
You know,
whole
we
show on why he
yeah,
shouldn't be.
we talked about Ben Johnson.
Hmm.
We talked about other coaches. What it ended up coming down to is if you were asking with this front office, and it goes back to this front office, the choices you were being given was Shotty, Kellen Moore. You had Matt Eberflus was being looked at. They didn't even interview Zim. So Shotty wasn't our first choice. And so the reason he hadn't been hired in 25 years, that's all legit. We just talking about now, he is the coach. And so
Hmm.
you're just looking at
And
some of the, yeah, go ahead, Key.
and it also goes back to the front office with Jerry and Steven. They
Yeah.
want to hire somebody that they comfortable with.
We
And
wanted
what
It's
Ben
comp
Johnson.
we want to Ben
Yeah.
Johnson, but what I was also saying was what we gonna have to do is we gonna have to get somebody that's on their team, but also that's
Yeah.
on our team. Somebody that I was saying it would be somebody that fit the mold of Kellen Moore or Shoddy. Someone that would come in that's on their team, but have the philosophy to say, okay, we're gonna change this though.
Yeah.
We're gonna do what needs to be done to win. And that's what seems like that's what Shoddy seems to be doing. He came
Yeah.
in and he immediately checked off boxes that we know needed to be checked off.
You
Like,
couldn't, I would not have hired me personally if I had a choice between uh, Schottenheimer, who hadn't had a job in 25 years, who's been around. His dad was a legendary coach, and Kellen. It's no question who I'm taking.
and then on top of that, Kid
Oh
Cowboy
yeah.
also, yeah, QB picked this head coach. He absolutely did. But this has also been confirmed. When our offense took that leap that it took 2 years ago, and when Dak was playing like an All Pro, when he almost got MVP and CD, they said that
Yeah.
that was that they said that was direct involvement of Shoddy being involved, and it didn't happen last year because Mike McCarthy pushed back on it. So if Dak and CD is saying that the reason why they were performing so good is because they had, in conjunction with Shoddy, changed the offense, and I believe him. And Dak is at the point in his career, CD at the point they want to win. They not gonna if Dak not just hiring somebody or Dak not giving his opinion to hire Shoddy just because he's comfortable with him.
Yeah.
He really expects that they're gonna be good and that this is gonna be a good thing. So
Yeah.
So when he was like second MVP, what was our running game? Did we have a strong running game then?
yeah, we had Tony Pollard
And
and
Zeke?
yeah, no, Did we have Zeke that year? Yeah, we did. We did.
Yeah, the
Yeah, we
running
Right.
game was pretty solid that year.
yeah, it was.
It was
So
good.
Our
But
you
offense
know,
was good in general. Our offense was just like a top
yeah.
offense. It was
now,
no,
But
wasn't
I
no
now,
don't I don't want Dak out there just throwing about,
a
you
hundred
know,
no,
times a game. No, we
you
don't
know,
want
yeah,
that. Mm-mm,
no,
yeah.
we won't Dak. Really, honestly, we
mm-mm.
won't Dak, and we've talked about it on our show before. We really won't Dak where Elway was his last few years, where the
Mm-mm.
offense was centered around Terrell Davis, some other guys. The offensive line got better, the scheme got better.
Yep.
Elway would still do Elway things, and I've been watching the '90s Cowboy games this all off season. Troy, he never threw the ball 35, 40 times a game.
No, you
It
got to be
was
balanced. You got to be balanced, and you got
That
to
it
be
was a
that running
balance
game
there.
was killer then.
yeah, and you got to
Now,
have complementary football. But also that team right there, they could do things that could not be stopped,
yeah,
like
they
running the
had a great
ball.
line, and
Right.
I think
Yeah.
our line is going to back bounce. And I do want to talk to you guys about this just real quick before we kind of ramp down. I've been seeing a lot of chatter about Dak running. I'm seeing videos of him running in practice. I think they're making a big mistake doing that. I think what they should do, they should have Dak look at cut ups of Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson. What Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson would do, if Aaron Rodgers needs 3 yards for a first down and you give it to him, he'll take 3 yards. If he needs 2 yards, he'll take 2 yards and he gets down. That's what Dak needs to do. Dak does not need to be doing any kind of run options. He doesn't need to be running down the field full speed. You do that, you're asking for trouble.
Yeah, no, you are. And Dak is at the point in his career where he don't need to be doing that. He can cut you up and just standing in the pocket.
Hmm.
So, you know what I'm saying? Let's see what this is what the AI says. So, I was bringing this up. This is really, like I said, I think it's 100% accurate, 1000% accurate. And this is all that we've been talking about. Now, in a couple areas, it's not really like, I mean, it's 1000% accurate, but in a couple areas, I feel like they're already checked off. So the first one, and I just typed in, what are the Dallas Cowboys weaknesses? And this is what the internet, this is what AI says. This is what AI says. It says running back, the departure of Tony Pollard and Rico Dowdle, coupled with questions surrounding the effectiveness of Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders since their arrival, and lack of a proven RB1 creates uncertainty at this position. We have been talking about that nonstop. So let me ask y'all this: good, best case scenario, what does the running back room look like? Best case scenario and worst case scenario. Worst case scenario first, and then best case scenario second. What
Go
is
ahead, Casey. You can go first.
Well, the worst case scenario is that we're not able to run the football, and the best is if we have a 1-2 punch with one of these running backs, and we're able to have successfully have a running game. So, and
now?
that's all going to depend on offensive line
Mm-hmm.
and how physical we are up front.
And
And
I
I
think
think
that
that's going to have to start in camp, and it's going to have to be established in these preseason games. They're going to have to be physical
Mm-hmm.
uh, up front.
mm,
That's just me right there. What I think.
I think the best case scenario is the offensive line is really good, so the back really doesn't matter. The worst case scenario is the offensive line is opening up holes and you can see them, and then the running backs they just not seeing it. They not getting the job done. To me, and I think it's more toward the latter. I think the offensive line is going to be good, and but I'm concerned that the backs, even with a good line, they're just not good enough to exploit it.
Well, so I think that the offensive line is going to be good, and I feel like the scheme that Shotty is going to have them running, they're going to be able to cut and and the gap scheme. I feel like they're gonna be able to be average or above average. I feel like Javonte Williams and Jaden Blue will be the 1-2 punch that we're looking for. And I also think that that Hunter Luke is gonna be an unsung hero. I feel like he's gonna be involved in the running game and in the passing game.
Cooks.
Uh not Cooks, but Hunter Luke.
Hmm.
So I
What did
feel
he,
like
how did what he did he do anything today?
I didn't see Hunter Lupke do
Uh,
anything.
he's been getting rave reviews from the people that's covering practice.
Hmm.
So I
Yeah, I
think
mean,
he may get the breakthrough opportunity. McCarthy just refused to play him.
Yeah, and that was just that was bad on McCarthy part. It's a part of the reason
Mhm.
why he didn't do good last year. And then it says offensive line. The retirement of Zach Martin and the free agency departures of Tyron Smith and Tyler Biotish leave significant holes at tackle and center, while rookie Tyler Guyton and Cooper Beebe are expected to step in. Their inexperience and Guyton's potential position switch pose potential issues, particularly in pass protection, where returning tackle Terrence Steele and Guyton struggle in 2024. Now this is the one I'm kind of pushing back on because I just don't. I feel like Cooper Beebe
He's
is
solid.
yeah, he's solid. He above average, and I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like Tyler Guyton is going to be the worst case scenario for me is Tyler Guyton will be average, and I feel
Now I
like
do. Go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Jules.
No, I just feel like Tyler Guyton is going to be average at the worst. I feel like he'll be
Yeah.
average.
Well, I do have an issue with Steele because I just think he's horrible. I mean, I just last year he was just getting beat. I don't know. I know y'all was saying y'all okay with him, but last year Steele was getting. That's a lot of reason why Dak is got hurt last year because he was running for his life because
Oh
the
yeah,
that right tackle is and that's another reason why the right guard that just retired
Zach Martin.
Zach Martin, you know, having to, protect that right side because of Steele.
Yeah, I think the
I think he put Martin in retirement because Steele just
when
wasn't a
carrying his
good right
load.
tackle to me last year at all.
So the questions are still in Guyton. Still got better toward the end of the year, but now he's got a high ankle sprain. And that's the other thing is you got to question. Is he going to be durable and is he tough enough? So, but here's what I think earlier I mentioned it. I think some of the offensive linemen that we have on the roster now,
Mm-hmm.
if Steele and Guyton don't play well, I think we got some guys on the team that can step in and do a good job. That's kind of the way, to me, that's the way the line is looking. And then the coaches, you got Clayton Adams, Connor Riley, our
Mm-hmm.
offensive line coach that we had, Mike Solari. He just he should have been, he shouldn't have been the coach, the offensive line coach. That was a McCarthy thing too. So, but I think the line coaches are just better.
Mm-hmm.
I feel good about the line. That doesn't mean the backs are gonna be good because it's just gonna be, are they gonna leave meat on the bone? But
No, and I also want to say this, and I did. This is just my overall perspective, and I haven't seen anything yet. I mean, I'm kind of seeing something now that
He
that
said
I
shot it lamed up.
I feel like this is my overall perspective. I feel like Shotty has enough common sense and football sense to where if something, and I feel like he has enough pull and say so. I feel like if something is like not looking good to where like okay, still is not looking good, Shotty's gonna put the right person in there. I feel like hey, if the running
yeah,
backs are not looking good, then Shotty will do something
yeah,
to
and
fix that.
with him being waiting for 25 years to get a job, I don't think he's just gonna go out there and just let these guys, his first job as a head coach, just let
Just
these guys go out there and just kind of do whatever. He's gonna be, yeah,
So
hmm. And then the last
so
one we
my
could go
so
ahead.
so my question is it, and I know the answer to this, is it our front office or is it our head coaches? Because you see what Washington done last year, first year head coach. They get to the NFC championship.
Yeah.
Cincinnati Bengals coach, his first year, they get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And
mm,
we've been dealing with all these coaches for the last, six head coaches,
Hmm.
and we get bounced out the first round of the playoffs. Is it the coaching,
Hmm.
which I think plays a big part, or is it the front office?
My answer to that would be it's the front office, and my answer is because of like this, and it's a little bit of both. But what happens is like for instance, if with a good front office and a good head coach and with a good front office, this is the type of things that should happen. It could have happened with us any of these 30 years. Like for instance, what Philadelphia did. Philadelphia said, "Okay, we got bounced out the first round at the playoffs. We lost to Tampa Bay. We got upset. We crashed during the end of the year. We really have a good squad, but we can't run the ball effectively. And Jalen Hurts is not a pure pocket passer. So we need to be able to get a scheme to where we can run him and cut down on him throwing the ball. And then we need to get a dynamic runner in here in order for us to solidify this team. So they go out, they get Kellen Moore, then they go out and they get Saquon Barkley. That's all that. Those were the splash moves that they made, and they come back the next year and they build on what they had and they get to the Super Bowl. The same thing with like with Kansas City. It's just like, okay, we had Tyreek Hill. He was dynamic on our team. So what we need to do now that he's gone is uh we need to replace him with a couple of good receivers, maybe a speedster in the draft, and then we need to make sure that we sign our DTs and make sure our defense is good. We got the same defensive coordinator. We're going to continue to build on that. They end up back in the Super Bowl. We have teams that are really good, but when it's time to build on that team, the front office just does a complete 180 lackluster. Like the year that we got put out of Green Bay, we should have had the type of offseason that we had this past offseason, that offseason. But instead, what they did was they went out, they didn't do nothing. They did the opposite. They let all of those players go and they didn't do anything to recoup. And what did we have? We had a horrible year plagued with injuries. And then now this past offseason, the front office went in and they had a good draft and they got they finally got George Pickens. And right now we waiting on them to get DTs. And I think that Shotty is going to end up getting some DTs. But my whole thing is,
Hurt.
go ahead.
Go ahead, Jules. Finish.
Yeah, I
You
was
go
just
ahead.
saying, I'm just saying that the front office, it's always the front office that either that can build on a previous team. Like for instance, if we have an off season, no matter what happens this year, if we have an off season and draft next year like we did this year, this is going to be a great team no matter what. Now the coaching, that's we're gonna have to see what they do. But if the front office had a kind of off season that they had this year, if they had that same kind of off season next year, we will be a great team and no matter what.
Yeah, I think it's to answer your question. So it's a chicken and the egg theory. It's really both. So it's the front office and it's the coaches that they hire. So when your front office makes Jason Garrett the head coach with 10 years, that's the problem. When your front office hires Wade Phillips, who was fired at Buffalo and Denver, that's a problem. And then you can throw in, Chan Gailey. I don't even include Dave Campo. But so the answer is the front office is the same. They don't do a good job of hiring. That's one of their problems. That's the thing that they do um, that separates them from other organizations. In 30 years, you can just look up and hire the right coach, but not this group because they don't really know what they're doing. They don't know how to hire. That's why this offseason, they should have just used a different process, but their process basically said, we're going to have Shoddy, Kellen Moore. I can guarantee you they thought about Matt Eberflus as the head coach because that's what they do. So it's the front office. It's
And
who they hire.
and then I'm gonna say this, and then we can wrap too. But look at this right here, what this says. And we've been saying this last year, the year before that, the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that, and we're saying it right now. Okay, we're saying that in summary, the Cowboys faces challenges in several key areas, particularly in their ability to run the ball effectively and defend against the run. That right there, run the ball effectively and defend against the run, is what we're talking about today. We don't have that right now. We still right now we're guessing on if we're going to be able to run the ball effectively, and we're guessing if we're going to be able to defend against the run. Any good GM, any good front office will be able to solve that riddle in one off season without even using the whole tree. A good GM will be able to solve that right there, those two things right there in the draft by itself. A good GM will be able to solve that riddle right there without the draft and just using free agents
Mm-hmm.
and using trading. They would be able to do it. If you just told a good GM and a good front office, hey, we're not gonna. I want you to run the ball effectively and defend against the run. I only want you to be able to do it using free agency. A good GM will be able to do it. If you told them, I want you to be able to run the ball effectively and defend against the run. I only want you to use the draft to do this. They would be able to
Well,
do.
We don't have a good GM.
We don't. And
Mm-mm.
and this year right here, I can tell y'all right now, if before the season starts, if they can figure out how to run the ball effectively and defend against the run, because it's still hope. We still got time. We still
Yeah,
hope. If they can get a couple DTs in here, they can solve the defend against the run, and we could be able to run the ball effectively if Jaden Blue and Javonte Williams do what they supposed to do in Hunter Lippley. But if they cannot defend against the run and run the ball effectively, we're not going to win in the playoffs.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and wrap. It's been a good show, and appreciate you guys for joining. Please like and subscribe and share,
Yeah.
and appreciate you joining KC from the you're in the West, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to think what part of
Southwest.
town. Southwest.
Yeah.
Mansfield.
Yep. Nashville. Yep.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
we appreciate everybody coming out. This is what we do. Sundays, we like to kick back. Cowboys thing is a big thing for us. So training camp season. So every Sunday y'all can log in and check us out. Us three gonna be on here every Sunday, pretty much going forward. And then when the season starts, it's gonna be real interesting and real cool for us to do some of these game analysis. It's gonna be real cool. For me and my dad, my uncle to get on here and analyze these games game to game and just stay positive and see what's going on. So we appreciate
They got
everybody.
this. They got this scrimmage coming up with the Rams. Is a Super Bowl pick for me. I think the Rams got a pretty good team.
So when is the
But
scrimmage?
I think it's coming up this week.
It's
I think
August.
Okay.
probably the this week Thursday,
It's,
Friday.
it's August the 8th. I think it's the August the 7th or the 8th.
Okay, so yeah,
Okay.
that's
Yeah, that'll
coming
be the
up.
next thing we keep an eye on. Let's hopefully we get good news on Brevin Spann Ford.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I think is it's just gonna be health too, because if we're just healthy, I think a
Mm-hmm.
lot of these things that we have are really just kind of come together. That's what really got us last year.
Mm-hmm.
What was the health? But yeah, appreciate you guys joining, and we'll go ahead and we'll call it, and
And
then we'll see you on the next one.
we'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.